Okay, so for number 4, we're going to solve for x. So the first thing we're going to undo is the minus 5, and the way we're going to undo that is by adding 5 to both sides. So then this turns to 0. So on the left-hand side, I have 2x left over, and negative 23 plus 5 is 18, negative 18. The next thing we need to undo is we need to get the x by itself. So this is saying 2 times x, and the opposite of multiplication is division. So we're going to divide both sides by 2. So negative 18 divided by 2 is negative 9. Remember, you can always check your answer by plugging it back in. So I could plug in negative 9 for x here, and we should end up with a true statement. So just to test, 2 times negative 9 minus 5, that should equal negative 23. Well, 2 times negative 9 is negative 18 minus 5. This becomes negative 18 plus negative 5, and that's negative 23. So that's correct. It's not necessary for you to check your answers, but it is good practice. Okay, let's look at number 8. So whenever you have variables on both sides, like in this case, you can choose any number to start with. So just remember, we're trying to get our variables on one side and our numbers on the other. So I'm just going to say I want to get my variables on the left-hand side and the numbers on the right, which means I need to take this variable and move it over to the left-hand side. And we're going to do that by doing the opposite. Anytime you're doing something over an equal sign, it's the opposite. So since this is a positive 5, the opposite of positive 5 is subtracting 5. So minus 5x, and we have to do it to both sides. This goes to 0. Then 9x minus 5x is 4x. And what's left on the right-hand side is negative 13. Now this becomes a simple two-step equation like in the previous problem we just did. To get the x by itself, we need to undo the minus 7 and the timesing by 4. So first thing we're going to do is undo the minus 7 by adding 7 to both sides. So then we have 4x, this goes to 0, equals negative 13 plus 7 is 6. Oh, sorry, is negative 6. And then we're going to divide both sides by 4. So negative 6 divided by 4 is negative 2.5, or negative 1.5. All right, the last problem I'm going to go over is number 12, and this is a similar problem to the previous one. Okay, again, we have variables on both sides. So when you have variables on both sides, what I like to do is I like to pick a side for my variables and pick a side for my numbers. And when I do that, that means I'm going to move all my variables to the left-hand side and all my numbers to the right-hand side. So I'm going to start with this 7x, and to move it over to the variable side, we're going to do the opposite. So we're going to subtract 7x from both sides, and we're going to subtract it from the 10x since those are the like terms. This is 3x minus 2. The 2 comes straight down. This goes to 0, and we're left with negative 14. Now we need to move the numbers to the right-hand side. So we have this minus 2, and we need to get it with a negative 14. So we're going to add 2 to both sides, since that's the opposite. So we have 3x equals negative 14 plus 2 is negative 12. Last thing we need to do is we need to undo the timesing by 3, and we're going to divide both sides by 3. So negative 12 divided by 3 is negative 4.